Let's turn our attention to the World Cup launching on Sunday. That's also the day when comedian Joe Lycett has told fans he's going to put £10,000 of his own money into the shredder and live stream it on the evening of the Football World Cup opening ceremony if David Beckham does not pull out of his deal with Qatar. Let's have a little watch and a listen to a video he put out on social media yesterday.
This is a message to David Beckham. I consider you, along with Kim Woodburn and Monty Don, to be a gay icon. You were the first Premiership footballer to do shoots with gay magazines like Attitude, to speak openly about your gay fans, and you married a Spice Girl, which is the gayest thing a human being can do. But now it's 2022, and you've signed a reported £10 million deal with Qatar to be their ambassador during the FIFA World Cup. Qatar was voted as one of the worst places in the world to be gay. Homosexuality is illegal, punishable by imprisonment, and if you're Muslim, possibly even death. You've always talked about the power of football as a force for good, which suggests to me that you've never seen West Brom. But generally, I agree. So with that in mind, I'm giving you a choice. If you end your relationship with Qatar, I'll donate this 10 grand of my own money, that's a grand for every million you're reportedly getting, to charities that support queer people in football. However, if you do not, at midday next Sunday, I will throw this money into a shredder.
Well, that was Joe Lycett issuing that challenge to David Beckham. Let's talk about this now with Malcolm Clark from the LGBT Alliance, representing lesbian, gay and bisexual people. Good morning to you.
Hi there, Julia.
Thank you very much indeed. Quite a challenge. I think a lot of people are very upset at the idea of throwing 10 grand into a shredder, which could easily go to a charity. But he's doing that because that makes the point, doesn't it? There are an awful lot of people. We see this with celebrities, and we see it, of course, with an awful lot of corporates as well, who profess to care about gay rights. But when the money starts chinkling away, they suddenly don't anymore.
Absolutely. I mean, let's admit it's quite refreshing that someone's not throwing paint at a Van Gogh or disrupting the traffic and the motorway. It's a tongue in the cheek. It's a nice gesture. I think it's also a really important issue. I mean, I see Qatar's World Cup as a bit like something being held in apartheid South Africa.
Yes.
I mean, all of these people, like Robbie Williams and David Beckham, would never dream of going to South Africa under apartheid. And yet here they are in Qatar, as you say, minting the money. And if you point it out, as Joe has, then they get offended. I think it's outrageous. I mean, the whole thing, Qatar's World Cup is the most extreme example of hypocrisy and, of course, corruption. The number of people who've died building the stadiums is appalling. And somehow we're all going there and we're all supposed to...
Well, I mean, that's the thing. We're not going there, are we? Most people aren't. We're seeing officials are not going to Qatar from most countries. I think Mark Drakeford from the Welsh First Minister is going. A lot of criticism of him. We're not going to see the royals. We're not going to see prime ministers and the like going, even if, we're in the World Cup final. But the team's playing. I don't want the teams penalised. But what we should have done, I've said this a million times, sorry for boring my regular listeners and viewers, is that as soon as it was announced Qatar, everyone knew it was a corrupt decision by FIFA, and everyone should, all of the right-thinking Western democratic countries should have said, right, we're just going to have our own World Cup, and we're going to do it in the summer where it's supposed to be, and we're going to do it in a country that shares our values. This is the key thing. These countries are entitled to have, there's no such thing as human rights. They don't exist. They're just things that nation states can protect. We can tell them we think that their values are wrong, but we actually don't have a right to change what they do. But we do have a right to say, you don't get to take part in these major events and have basically us condone and us spend money and tourists come over when you don't share our values. We have a right to say that.
Absolutely. And we have a right to hold the likes of FIFA and the various football associations in all these countries to account, because they spend endless amounts of time dressing up in rainbow laces and pink washing their reputations.
Yeah.
I mean, often they bully individual footballers who won't wear rainbow flags or whatever, and then they themselves take part in this. It's the hypocrisy.
But also, when they do their rainbow flags in Pride Month, which as far as I can tell is Pride Year these days, it's all year round somewhere, but they have those flags, big companies, big corporates, they'll have their flag on their Twitter feed for in England or in America or in France, or but the Middle East or in China, no, funnily enough, they don't have their rainbow flag. Now, I understand why economically they do that, But they're saying that they're basically, we put these values first. No, you don't. You put profits first. And you think that flying the rainbow flag here makes you money, but not flying it there makes money. But this is the thing, when you got people like David Beckham, look, he's a hero for many. He's one of the reasons why we got the Olympic Games. I know people who are working on that bid say he was absolutely instrumental. He's got the star power. And he was an amazing footballer. He's an icon for many people. But he played this really important role in terms of gay rights, didn't he? In terms of there is not a single Premier League player who's in public eye who's out and gay, and he was basically just making it hopefully a little bit easier for people to be open, at least among their teammates, if not publicly. And then here he is taking money from these people. You should say, if these people were treating black people in the same way they're treating gay people, he wouldn't take their money. He wouldn't dream of it.
No. And I think that's why because David Beckham is so admired and liked by gay people and straight people, I think that's why the tone of Joe Lycett's video was so gentle and humorous. Yeah. Because it was more in sorrow than in anger, I think. Everyone would love David Beckham to make a gesture. I hope he does. I mean, I don't see why. I'm sure his contract doesn't prevent him wearing a little rainbow logo. So I'm looking forward.
I don't think that's enough. But that's just me. We'll have to leave it there. Malcolm Clark from the LGB Alliance. Thank you for that.